This is fairly new. I Kiss the Wind. You, keeper of my heart, diamond of the night, I kiss the wind in hopes it finds your cheek, your eyes, your neck, your lips, all of you. I open my arms to the emptiness and hope you fall from a dream into my embrace. You, keeper of my heart, diamond of the night, with vacant hands I cling to the thought of you. Night is the hardest. Night is the hardest when loneliness rides in on a road paved in moonlight, arriving with a bottle and a trunk full of thoughts. Pouring glasses full of solitude, everything appears farther away in the silence of dim hours. People in the safety net of morning seem out of reach when you need them most of all. Standing under the stars, bearing the strain of survival, you realize it's just you alone in the fog. I have a limited edition book coming out from Highly Intoxicated Publications out in the UK. This is the title poem from that book, Snow Moon. I want to tell you that the moon tonight is beautiful, that it floats over the city like a cosmic pearl. I want to tell you that it gleams like your eyes, that it cuts through clouds like your smile does my heart. I want to tell you all of this, but it would all be lies. For this moon in all its beauty falls in all ways when compared to you. And I'm going to read a couple, not everything that I checked off, but this is my new book, Lost City Highway, from a Jabber publication. About 2 or 3 years ago, I got an email from a kid out in Los Angeles who read one of my poems in a magazine out there from somebody that lived in Mystic that relocated, and from there we kind of got in touch, and this was the project. It's, well, it is what it is. Life views from Bourbon Street, reflecting. Stealing the night, he wears it like a mask. Slow streets slump and wait to be born. Do you know how to feel and what is at stake? I see sin through thin disguise and smile. The sidewalks are spies screaming for sweet surrender. Brick film screen showing a picture I've seen before. Poetry, poverty, purity. Look, she's nude in the window. I think we're still wet from birth. Even a cricket casts a large shadow in the right light. Are the gates open for our escape? We're unknown in India. Sex chased the couple into the alley, laughing. Can I make it to California? I tease myself with a clear thought, but she's quick to leave. Loners, lovers, and the lost. Whose tears are these? Satori. This had the title for one of my very first chapbook in New London. I wrote it back, I don't know, 2006-ish. Satori. Woke up and got drunk. Found my way to the streets and tripped along the tracks. Past the cafe I read poetry at when I was you. And nothing was empty. And a car in the street. And horns. And disruption. $2 in my pocket. Enough of black coffee and the paper. It's full of news I can get for free with my eyes open and my ears to the ground. And somewhere on the television, the State of the Union is being read. And I did not listen. I did not listen. And Bruce McDermott did a cover of that poem on one of his albums. I can't remember the name of the album, but Bruce covered that, and I just remembered while we were reading, so thank you. Subterranean Skyline. Dave Spinelli, when he lived in town, lived down around Thames in an apartment building, and he had ways of getting us up on the roof. Subterranean skyline. It's 8:40 p.m. and I'm on a rooftop in New London. I can't describe the stars and how they blink like eyes overhead, but they're still right there. And I can't help staring, and everyone's talking, and I hear it all. Every word, every thought. And I know I'm young and callow, too arrogant to notice that I've gotten older with the turn of a page. The dead river time, who trickled thinly through the years, has risen above the levee. Where's Brian? Brian, this poem's for you. I think you talked to me about it the other day. The Electric Philosopher. The strange man enters the night with the moon, his only wife. Smoldering dreams play cruel games in the soft streets. Regretting untimed thought and wasted days, silent words and unused wisdom. The strange man sits alone in a cave high in the hills, stuck in thought. Winter waves suffocate hope. Insane nights shatter neon prisms, following the green shepherd in soulless marches, the dead on display. Broken pyramids and false legends, dead in alleys, attempting to avoid glass values with spider webs of poisoned doubt, the strange man sits. This was a poem. James Duncan does magazine out of Hudson Valley, and he's a big. Hey, there you are, Brian. He does a magazine out of the Hudson Valley. He's a big Tom Petty fan. When Tom Petty passed away, he did an issue of the magazine that he wanted poems, not in tribute of Tom Petty, but inspired by Tom Petty. Preferably using a line from one of his songs, but didn't want them to be tributes. He wanted them to be Tom Petty-inspired poems. So this is the poem that I had published in that magazine. Spirit. You belong out there among the wild flowers that grow along pine-shadowed streams and crawl slowly down sunlit slopes and fall silently into a granite sea. But here, you are with me, and for that, I apologize. O city. O city of night, death and happiness, the beggars and homeless weep at your feet. O city of heartbreak, loss and forgiveness, the children play in your streets. O city of dreams, pain and light, the stars in the sky are drowned out by noise. O city of love, sing your songs so we can dance together in the gutter. O city of night and light and pain and death, blow your horn for tomorrow and for today. Blow your horn for the lost ragged souls of the dark. O city of night, blow your horn for us. On the outskirts of town. This was in Rotations, I believe, one of my chapbooks. On the outskirts of town. Down here on the outskirts of town in sleepy... I'm going to start again. I'm sorry. On the outskirts of town. Down here on the outskirts of town in sleepy old America, sometime after the sky has lost its blue, here I am, scribbling and giggling in these tiny notebooks. The stars peek over my shoulder, and the only thing I can really hear is a car passing by in the night, maybe a train whistle. Writing by the window light, or if I'm lucky, a full moon. I can see the universe spill out before me, and here I am, floating through the void, no more a leaf down a lazy river, all peaceful and eternal. Now the waves hush as they splash on the beach below, and the constant steady hum of the factory on the far shore, and I feel like the last man on earth, because the night provides a certain amount of loneliness. Even when it's not bleak and empty, but it's there, hiding out in the shadows, ready to leap if you turn your back. And I can feel it as the pen scratches words onto the page down here on the outskirts of town in sleepy old America, where all the houses are crowded with dreams. Thank you. This is a poem I wrote in Northern California. Jack Michelin, one of my favorite street poets, he gave an interview once where he talked about everybody kind of wandering around on the streets, but nobody looks up, nobody looks at the moon, everybody kind of looks down and avoids each other. In this poem, I talk to the moon for Jack Michelin. I'm talking to the moon tonight for you, Jack. I'm moving my feet and made it to California, a long way from home. I talked to the moon in Nashville, I talked to the moon in Nashville, I talked to the moon in New Orleans where the waters rose above the doors, but the bars did not close. I talked to the moon in Texas in wide open spaces where poems roared like outlaws through the streets. And the moon talked to me as it shined in the sky and reflected like the white line of the highway. My inside spilled on the streets of Broadway in San Francisco, my heart thumping in Chinatown. I talked to the moon and rambled my dreams and my nightmares, and the moon talked to me, Jack. The moon talked to me. This is a poem about a guy from Jewett City. Used to hang out in an alley. Everybody knew him as Al. Nobody really knew his story, but he was always around town. Crazy Al, where are you buried? I wondered to myself on the bright afternoon, where do they bury the bums that everyone knows by first name? Crazy Al, everyone greets him with a smile and a how you doing, pal? No one asked questions when he disappeared. Just the kids who saw him on the streets through car windows on their way to Sunday school. They just kept on moving, assuming he went someplace else, and finally decided to leave town. Is there an invisible cemetery for all the invisible people all over the world to be buried in? Do they have funerals right in front of our eyes down by the railroad tracks, asking each other for cigarettes and wine at the reception? Bury me in an invisible cemetery, with all the faces we don't see and all the stories we never heard. I only have a couple left. This is another poem about a guy from Jewett City. Jewett City gangster. True story. Jewett City gangster. He walks down Main Street in a black pinstripe suit. What Dillinger might have worn the night he was gunned down. But now it appears after years of brawls and bad luck close to the rags and mafia wear. He limps through town suffering from the wound left by the bullet that found his leg one night years ago at the old hotel down by the tracks. His drunken stubble is what's left of a 3-day binge. He pauses briefly in a barroom doorway, swigs a pint pulled from his pocket, squinting into the sun, scanning the sidewalk, always on the lookout for the lady in red. This is a thing. This is a poem about hanging out with my brother at the casino. Mohegan. Saturday morning at the book with my brother. A stable of gray faces, career gamblers all around, eyes screaming at TVs. Horses gallop across screens, wrinkled hands gripping slips that will fall to the ground with each race and flutter in the smoke like broken dreams in the wind. And us at the bar, just trying to get drunk before lunch. I only have a couple left. This song, this poem, Sing a Song, is based on a conversation I had with a bus driver. I'm a middle school teacher up north. This is a conversation that I had, another teacher had with one of the bus drivers that we work with. Sing a song. Early morning, sun in the sky, that big yellow bird pulls up to the front walk of the school. The doors open, a song falls down the stairs with kids wearing smiles out onto the front walk. And I asked the bus driver why she sings songs with the kids she brings to school every day and home every night. And she said to me, if they're singing songs, they're not fighting. They're not fighting. And I sat down on a bench with those words in my head and I thought to myself, sitting in the sun, why can't rich old men sing songs together? Rich old men financing all these wars should sing songs together, and all the soldiers all over the world should sing songs together as their bones are being bleached by the sun out in the battlefields. And all the politicians in all the countries under the stars can get together and sing songs. They can all sing the same song. A song about the children, a song about the homeless, a song about the hungry, a song about the soldier whose bones are being bleached by the sun out in the battlefields. This is my advice to Brian Gore. If you're planning on traveling to the edge of the world, bring a change of clothes. You're going to get dirty. Bring a bottle, have a drink with anyone else that survives. This is, I have to read this poem. Tom Weigel was the first poet that I met when I came to New London. Heck yeah. He ran the poetry open that Anita still runs. He was poetry. The guy was fantastic. This is my poem for him. He passed away 2 years ago, going on 2 years now. Today in New London for Tom Weigel. The jazz of your poems still echo on city corners and bounce off battered buildings. They race down streets on skateboards and spill out in conversations at coffee shops and taverns. They crawl across yards like the neighbors' cats, leaving footprints in the snow. And they sing like little birds in the trees whose leaves have fluttered upward in the wind like your words. And I sit here east of the sun reading your books and listening to the rain rattle the gutters like your typewriter rattling the night as your poems float out onto the sidewalk and sprout like flowers in the moonlight. Do I have time for two more? Upon a hangover for Everett Maddox. Everett Maddox was the best dressed hobo in New Orleans. When he passed away, they buried him at the Maple Leaf Cafe where he ran an open mic. It was his favorite bar. Upon a hangover, he was a drunk. Upon a hangover for Everett Maddox. One night, God came to visit me. He drank all my whiskey and told me the universe is an empty bottle. This poem's titled Little Man. I dedicated it to Lawrence Ferlinghetti because I heard him say Little Man once and then I wrote a poem. Little Man. It's a true story. Little Man for Lawrence Ferlinghetti. There's a little man inside me behind my eyelids and crawling across my tongue like a wounded animal. There's a little man inside me with fists punching the insides of my ribs, screaming in the chambers of my heart. There's a little man inside me with 1,000 faces and as many voices, singing the sorrow from the sky, dancing the death from view. A little man who waves no flags and pledges allegiance to trees and mountains and the beauty of life. America, I water your parched throat with the blood of history. I kiss your cheeks with the lips of the poor. America, you've taken all from most and left the rest to raise little men and women who will spread resistance like the seeds of wild flowers in the wind. Thank you.